You're watching Experience Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
This is where I do a cold opening. Look, we're going to talk about Moon Knight. We're going to talk about the thing that happens in the closing credits. We're going to talk about what happens to Layla. We're going to talk about giant gods fighting. Stick around. Dan Wickline Show. Stay tuned. Well, if that new opening doesn't wake you up, at least, I mean, it's definitely better music than the Clown Circus. But hey, JD, can we change the color? That green kind of makes me sick. Much better. Thank you. All right, folks, we got a couple things we'll talk about, and then we'll jump right into the talk about Moon Knight season series finale. They don't seem to be certain on that yet, but I mentioned this the other day, and I thought I should actually expand on it. I went up the hill Friday. Check out the Shot Caller Wickline Living in Limitless Color palette. So I went up to the desert where Lisa lives and hung out there on Friday. When I came home, my mother tells me, we had a visitor last night. Now, I don't know about you, but when your 78-year-old mother says we had a visitor last night, and it doesn't sound like it's somebody that was supposed to be here, you get a little worried. Well, it turns out that our neighbors have a large German Shepherd named Lobo who have figured out how to climb over the fence and then crawl in through the doggy door. Now, it's a little startling because I own a 40-pound pit bull. We have two dogs about that size. Our dogs barely get through. I mean, they're right at just the perfect level for that doggy door. The German Shepherd's much bigger, but he kind of creeps down and pulls himself through, and suddenly he's in our house. Well, he'd been doing this for a few days now. So every once in a while, I'll get up at like 3 a.m. and go use the restroom and have this giant German Shepherd suddenly staring at me. And I startle him because I guess I'm big in his book, which is kind of funny. But yeah, so we've taken this dog back probably a dozen times this week. But it's a sweet dog, other than it barks when it first sees me because it gets startled. But after that, it's a pretty interesting little thing because, I mean, you don't expect a German Shepherd, especially when you don't have a door for the German Shepherd to come in, you know. JD says, we had a visitor last night. First thing that came to mind is either a ghost sighting or someone pooped their pants. Maybe the ghost sighting caused the pooping. But yeah, again, someone breaking in. I've always thought, you know, you leave the doggy door off, you could get skunks or squirrels or something in. But yeah, full-size German Shepherd, that's been quite the experience. And every time I take him back, whether it's myself or my nephew, we take Lobo back. The woman is very apologetic and keeps talking about, as soon as my son gets here, we're going to go to Home Depot. It's like, where is your son coming from? Because You've been saying that for a few days now, but I have not seen the dog pop in today. So hopefully they got it taken care of. But yep, nothing is weirder than suddenly opening your door and seeing a strange dog in your, just feet away from you, starting to bark like you're on his turf. Yeah. All right. Jay asked me a question. Jay, who does the show earlier in the week, posted on my Facebook page to get my opinion on a new trailer that dropped yesterday. And the trailer is for a new Jon Stewart-led Green Lantern animated movie. I think it was called like Brave of Heart or something. And I got a lot of mixed thoughts on Jon Stewart. I'm a Hal Jordan guy. I'm also a Barry Allen guy. But then those are who I grew up with, you know. Not a big Guy Gardner fan. The One Punch from Batman thing was great. But Jon Stewart to me felt a little bit like, and I can't say who did it first, but to me it felt like one was copying the other when Jon Stewart became Green Lantern and James Rhodes became Iron Man. It seems like they were kind of copying each other. But I didn't really care for Jon Stewart much in the beginning. But they've done a lot of great stuff with the character. They've kind of made him his own. And in a lot of ways, he's the antithesis of Hal Jordan in that he's very organized, he's military, he does things by the book, plus he's got his creativity comes from being an architect. So, the stuff he builds tends to be very structurally sound, also very militaristic. That makes sense. But I think it was the JLA, Justice League International, or whatever the animated series was. That was takeoff of the Batman Adventures and Superman. When, that to me was when Jon Stewart really got to shine, because it wasn't, he's filling in for Hal Jordan. In that setup, he's just Green Lantern. He dates Hawkgirl, he dates Vixen for a while, but that's his gig. He's Green Lantern. And I really got to like the character. I think Phil Lamar was doing the voice. So when I saw this clip the other night, my first thing was always, I wish it was Jon Stewart. I wish it was Hal Jordan. But as I'm watching it, I realize they got some good stuff going on in this, because you get Hawkgirl, you get Sinestro, you get Green Arrow and Martian Manhunter and Vixen. So it's a pretty interesting lineup. And it's basically the JLA or the Justice League without Justice League Unlimited. That's the animated series I was talking about. You get the Justice League without needing the big three. Because if you have Superman, Batman, or Wonder Woman in the series, it tends to be their show. So by doing it with Green Arrow and Martian Manhunter and stuff like that, it gives a chance for Jon Stewart to really shine. So, yeah, I'm interested in this now. I'd like to see how they do with that, and giving Jon Stewart another chance to be, kind of be out there and stuff. I don't know if we know the cast yet. Let me look it up real quick. Not seeing it on IMDb yet. Doesn't help that I don't quite remember the name. While I'm doing this, hey, how about you guys hit the like and subscribe buttons? And that would help me out greatly. You know, subscribe to the channel. Hit the like, because, I mean, I know you guys are liking me just, you know, talking about it like this, but, okay, so it's Beware My Power. That's it, which makes a lot more sense. Makes a lot more sense name-wise into this says now with the aid of lighthearted Green Arrow, this is what it says. In Green Lantern, Beware My Power, recently discharged Marine sniper John Stewart is at a crossroads in his life, one which only is complicated by receiving an extraterrestrial ring which grants him the power of the Green Lantern of Earth. Unfortunately, the ring doesn't come with instructions. Great. It sounds like the greatest American hero. But it does come with baggage, like a horde of interplanetary killers bent on eliminating every Green Lantern in the universe. Now, with the aid of the light-hearted Green Arrow, Adam Strange, and Hawkgirl. And that's interesting that they describe Green Arrow as light-hearted, but they don't describe Adam Strange or Hawkgirl. And I don't think lighthearted applies to all three, because Hawkgirl has never been lighthearted. That's the last thing you would describe her as. This reluctant soldier must journey into the heart of a galactic Rann-Thanagar war and somehow succeed where all other Green Lanterns have failed. All right. That sounds all good to me. They don't give us a cast, so don't know who's playing Green Lantern, anything like that. If you got the trailer, yeah, let's run it. Cool. Did that say partial nudity? Are we really going to get partial nudity in a... We're getting partial nudity in a DC animated feature. All right, so there we go. Vixen, Manhunter, Green Arrow. I like that. I got pointy ones too. And then they realize he's Green Lantern. A man driven by honor. This is the new style of art they've been doing with the animated series since Superman. Was it Man of Steel, Man of Tomorrow? Superman, Man of Tomorrow, which is these heavy inked lines around the face and stuff. So there's definitely more depth to it, and it's a consistent art style now, which I really like. So basically, Sinestro gets involved in the Rann-Thanagar War and wipes out the Green Lantern Corps, and the Justice League gets called in with the new Green Lantern. I guess that's Shadowlass, but why I don't remember her being a member of the Sinestro Corps. I like Beware My Power. That's cool. And I like the Green Arrow. I'm a Green Arrow fan. So you put the Green Arrow in something, I'm there. You know, when we were talking about what to do with Batman, the second Batman movie, my first thought was put the Green Arrow in it. He'd fit. So that looks fun to me. And that's supposed to be out in July, I believe. It's not available for pre-order yet. But I do like the DC animated movies. I got a few of them right here next to me. I'm a little behind, though. I know that they came out with one for... with John Constantine, and I think I've missed some. I have the Batman The Long Halloween is the last ones I've picked up, so I got to catch up. But they've been using that art style, and it does look really good. And they've got a different, they've got their versions of Superman and Batman now. So they're all in the same universe, even though they're slightly different. But you get little things that connect. So Martian Manhunter is actually introduced in the Man of Tomorrow. So hopefully we'll find out that's the same Superman or same Martian Manhunter. Keep building this universe. So, but there you go, Jay. That's my thoughts on Green Lantern. Beware my power. Looks good to me, even though my knee-jerk reaction is always going to be Hal Jordan. No Hal. Okay, we can go John Stewart. We can go Kyle Rayner. Let's not go Guy Gardner. And I know there's 2 newer ones, but I haven't really read much of them. So, at least to the Earth ones. I know there's 2, and I don't know their names off the top of my head. So, Ryan Reynolds, Hal Jordan. I got to tell you something. I didn't hate the Ryan Reynolds, Taika Waititi Green Arrow movie or Green Lantern movie. And I can say Taika Waititi because now, he's the director of all this great stuff. But he was the sidekick in the Ryan Reynolds movie that a lot of people forget. But I didn't hate it. And part of the reason I didn't hate it is because I got to read the first draft of the script. And the ending of the first draft was so bad and out of character that when they fixed it, it was already an improvement. So, yes, the suit looked horrible. They should have wore practical suits. I thought Mark Strong was a great Sinestro. Michael Clark Duncan as Kilowog was good. Jeffrey Rush as Tomar Ree. We could have done more with Hammerhead. What's his name? The guy with the giant head. Yeah. Definitely R.I.P. Michael Clark Duncan. There's flaws in the movie, but also that's where Ryan Reynolds met Blake Lively, and they're kind of a cool couple, so I'm good with that too. So no, I don't hate the Green Lantern movie. I have it on disc. I don't think I've watched it in a very long time, but I would love to see them go back and re-CG just the suits, just fix his suit through the whole movie. I think people would like it more. Yeah, but the actual ending that was in the script, I should tell you what that was. For some reason, Blake Lively's character, she becomes Star Sapphire. What's Hal Jordan's girlfriend? Carol Ferris. Carol Ferris is flying out to try to help, and her plane gets damaged, and she has to eject, and Hal just reaches her as his ring runs out of power, and the two of them are free falling, but they have this intimate moment as they're holding each other and plunging towards the earth, and their love becomes such a powerful beacon that it recharges the ring. Yep, that was my reaction too. I probably still have it on my computer somewhere. But yeah. Love recharges the ring. And I think this was written by Mark Guggenheim. At least he was one of the co-writers on it. Yeah, that's... Oh, man. So the fact that it didn't end that way What is will if not love persevering? No. Yeah, the fact that it didn't end that way immediately made it a better movie. So, just that thought. All right, folks, we're going to take our first commercial break. We will be back in just a moment, and we'll start our discussion, spoilery discussion, so be prepared, for Moon Knight, Episode 6, the season/series finale. We'll be right back.
Did you know that every experience show, including some exclusive content, streams on Twitch? Check it out, twitch.tv/the_EXP. Or just scan that QR code.
Imagine being at a convention and going to an interview panel that's just for you. No bustling crowds, no hours-long lines, just you, the moderator, and your favorite comic book creators. Well, this is pretty much that. Miss Jen sits down every week with 2 comic book creators for a live stream interview about their latest work, and you can ask them whatever you want. It's Talking Shop, Mondays at 5 Eastern on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit ComicShopLocator.com to find a store near you.
Yeah, we definitely need a shorter version of that. But a few seconds into that, I want to go, whoa, get into some David Draymond type of screaming. That's definitely a Disturbed sounding opening. Just while on the break, I was checking the news, and this is kind of interesting. Oh, wow. Yeah. Florian Montaño, who was in Creed 2 and Shang-Chi. Of course, he played Razor Fist. Is joining the cast of Vikings Valhalla on Netflix. So we get to see a little bit more of him. That'll be interesting. I thought he was pretty good in Shang-Chi. He came across a little better than what you think the character would. He was still the muscle, but he had a bit of a sense of humor, and he gets a little bit of a redemption arc, not so much a little more in the deleted scenes. So, all right, let's get into Moon Knight. Let's do the spoiler warning, please, JD. All right. So, if you have not seen it, this is your warning to bail now because I'm going to spoil the hell out of the finale of Moon Knight. Yeah, that guy right there on the wall. That's him. And he looked like that in one of the scenes as he was suddenly flying. This was a very interesting episode. One of the things, two of the things I talked about previously, the fact that they had originally were going to use Marlene as the girlfriend in this, who's Mark Spector's normal girlfriend, but decided to change the character to be an Egyptian woman. I thought, cool. But the fact that they gave her the name they did, Layla, the full pronunciation is Layla El Faouli, which ties into the old Invaders character. Now, I've been hearing a lot of people online refer to him as a villain, which is not necessarily accurate. The Scarlet Scarab was a protector of Egypt. And the reason that he actually fought the invaders is because Egypt was being mistreated by Britain at the time, and Union Jack and a couple other British heroes were part of the invaders. So the Scarlet Scarab took that wrong. Now, and the end of the first time we see him, he does switch sides and help the invaders. And the second time, he's actually teamed up with a couple of the Access characters, but that's because at that point he thinks that's what's best for Egypt. So saying he was a bad guy or a villain, he's an antagonist in the stories, but he's not what I would call a villain. So that's the first thing, which is good because one of the things was they thought people were talking about, and I brought this up, that perhaps Layla would become the Scarlet Scarab, being that that's the name. You know, it seemed kind of odd that they picked that name. And sure enough, she does become the Scarlet Scarab and looks freaking awesome, which is there. Yeah, look at that. Now, what's interesting is there is definitely a Wonder Woman vibe to the way she moves, to matching up the wings from Wonder Woman 1984, that suit. There was a lot of hatred towards Wonder Woman 1984, some of which coming from the Moon Knight director. I thought I had his name right here. Mohammed Diab, I believe it is. Well, he came out and just lambasted the versions of Egypt that are shown in Wonder Woman 1984. So you have to wonder if he took it a little further and made this character feel like Wonder Woman. There's even a moment in the fight where a little girl asks her, "Are you an Egyptian superhero?" And she's like, "I am." So now I didn't have a problem with that. That didn't actually take me out of the scene because I could see that happening. You know, in a world where superheroes are popping up everywhere, to suddenly have one in your hometown who looks like you. Yeah, I could see that question actually coming up in the middle of a battle. Wait, are you an Egyptian superhero? So didn't have a problem with that. I thought the way she fought, the way they moved the character, how they handled her in this entire episode was great. I think May Calamway has done a spectacular job of acting. And it's not just because she's done her part well, but she's had to do her part opposite of Oscar Isaac going full on Orphan Black with these characters he's doing, and Ethan Hawke chewing up the scenery as the villain, and he's not really chewing the scenery, but he is definitely the antagonist of this thing. And you've got all this going on, and she's holding her own. She's coming across like a really cool character. And then she also has her moment of duality as she's voicing Toweret at the same time as she's deciding, okay, I'll be your avatar. So I think that's a really nice moment. Another thing that I had said, and I think I said it on Popco the Writers, maybe not on this show, I said it wouldn't surprise me if we didn't meet Jake until the end credit scene. I said, I think this is all about Mark and Steven. And we'll probably just see we'll just see Jake behind the wheel of a cab or car, in a car, and we'll learn his name, and that'll be the closing credit scene. And what we got wasn't far from that. I mean, we got the connection between him and Khonshu, but it's basically meet my friend, Jake Lockley. And I'm going to be honest there. I don't understand why he's speaking Spanish. And the reason I don't understand it, if his character is supposed to be a Spanish mercenary, a Sicario maybe, that would make sense. But they're not in Spain. The nurse wasn't speaking Spanish. Harrow isn't speaking Spanish. So if he can speak English, I don't know why he's not speaking English there. So, I mean, that might be why he hasn't communicated to the others, because to him, he only speaks Spanish, which would be super weird in my mind, but maybe that's something a part of DID. But we had seen a bunch of other scenes that looked like it was Jake, and some of them were him. Well, there's the taxi cab scene where the guy said, "Oh, now you speak Egyptian." Well, is he upset because most people who drive cabs in foreign countries tend to learn English because English is somewhat of a universal language, or a very popular language. So maybe the reason the cabbie was upset was because he wasn't speaking English or Egyptian. Maybe he was just speaking Spanish, and that was hard for him to understand because it's not something he knows. That's a possibility. But there are other moments where it seemed like we were getting this heavy New York accent out of Oscar Isaac, and that doesn't make sense now. So we definitely had some scenes with Jake, like killing all the people on the roof that, for information, taking out Arthur Harrow and his crew. But some of the other scenes that we all thought were Jake, maybe they weren't. Maybe occasionally Oscar Isaac just slips into New York when he's trying to do Mark's voice. I don't know. I don't think Chicago and New York are similar enough for slipping back and forth to make sense. But plus, there's a scene in episode 5 where he wakes up. He says, "Oh, this is a great hospital. Yeah, I'm going to check myself out." And he's got the bandage on his nose. I thought for sure that was Jake. So maybe there's a fourth personality, or there's something else going on, which doesn't explain why he's speaking Spanish. So that's a mystery for me. Overall, the episode I thought was really good. I liked how, and this is another controversial one, People are trying to. I realized that the moment in the Swiss Alps where Stephen blacks out, it was Jake taking over, not Mark. Yeah, because those people were jacked up. That was definitely Jake. Somebody earlier referred to it as Jake from State Harm. I like that one a lot. Maybe his Moon Knight suit is khakis. That's another question I've seen a lot of people ask online. Well, what does Jake's suit look like? I don't think it's different. I would think because Mark describes the suit he wears as being the traditional healing robes from Khonshu's temple. So it would make sense that Jake knew of those too, where Stephen, in my mind, Stephen has been gone a while. He was around growing up, but when Mark went off to the war, he didn't need protecting from his mother anymore, so Stephen wasn't necessary. So Stephen went away for a while until his mother died, and he couldn't handle the emotions of it. So he brought Stephen back, basically. So I don't think Stephen was around for the creation of Moon Knight. And nor does he, that's why he didn't know Mark was there, let alone Jake. I think Jake is fully aware of what's going on. He knows Moon Knight, so he probably has the exact same costume. And he's the one that does. I don't see him as being a killer. I mean, he is a killer. But I see him as being the do whatever needs to be done type. Whether that's killing Arthur Harrow, getting in an apartment and replacing a fish, asking a girl out, killing the guys on the roof. He will do whatever is needed of him. That's his gig. True, nobody hits Jake. And he devastates. So I'm wondering if he's got some ability the others don't. That's more like and I hate using this term, but an area of effect attack that the others don't. Because it's not like they get up and he's taken somebody out. You look at when the blackout happens, the whole area is destroyed. There are signs for restaurants that are now damaged that are a good 30 feet away. There are cars destroyed. There is places on the ground on fire. And that all comes from something. And maybe that's something Jake can do. I mean, even in the Swiss Alps, how he takes out that crew is pretty lethal. I mean, none of them look like they were getting back up. There was no A-team moment where everybody starts getting their feet and wobble a little bit to show, well, yeah, they got hit hard, but they're going to be fine. They're definitely going home to their mother tonight. Nope. So, yeah, Jake may not have a costume, or he's used. And the reason I think he's using the same costume is Layla's reaction to it. She pretty much says, "What was that?" Not who was that. When she knows that when they switch. So if she had seen a switch, I think she would have said, "Who was that?" But if it's the exact same character looking, if there isn't a visible change, then I don't think she would have seen it. I think she's more like, well, what was that? How did you do all that? So I thought it was interesting that it took Steven going overboard to balance Mark. And I know a lot of people are like, well, wait a minute. Jake wasn't part of it. We know there's at least a third. Wouldn't Jake have had to been part of it too to properly balance his heart? And I don't think that's the case. I think what it is that Steven needed to accept that it wasn't his fault, that he wasn't to blame for what happened to his brother. And where he starts to figure that out, Mark or Steven sacrificing himself to save Mark, kind of put that over the top. That how do I, it's like no one had ever stood up for Mark. His dad didn't. His mom attacked him. No one, I don't think anybody ever came up to him and goes, it's okay, what happened was an accident. He's been blamed for it. So Steven tells him it wasn't his fault. And then Steven steps up and sacrifices himself to save Mark. Now, that, I think, is what actually balanced the heart. Not, them becoming closer or whatever. I think it was something having to do with Mark being the original. Accepting that he can love himself, even if it's in this third person persona that he's got. So I think that's why his heart balanced. And I love the fact that he's standing there in the field of reeds, and the first thing he says is, it's so quiet. And we've had that in some other characters. Doc Ock, when they put the chip on him, talks about how it's nice to not have the voices constantly talking. So yeah, I could see that. I think that was a real nice callback to Doc Ock, but also what it could be like. I love Mark basically abandoning his eternity. He gets accepted into heaven, the Egyptian version of heaven, the field of reeds. And his response is, no, I have to go back for Steven. I don't know. That's just so cool. Even though they became so close, they became like brothers, even though they're the same person. I think in a way, Steven became Randall to Mark. That was his brother. That was his way of saving his brother. So when he does come back, he's, basically in a better headspace. All right. Let's go ahead and take our second commercial break. We'll come back and we'll finish talking about Moon Knight season finale. We'll be right back.
Join the party. Head over to our Linktree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.
This is The Experience.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey there. Hi there. Hello there. You're as welcome as can be.
Hi, I'm Nancy McCann. Welcome to Friday Night Live on The Experience.
Welcome, everybody. It's Fat Jack's Comic Crypt. Brendan, Al, Jason, hanging out.
There I am. Welcome back to Kicking It with Henry, folks. I am your host, Henry Kumpa. It's great to be here with you guys.
So we are going to talk about books that are in stores this week.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Mishmash.
Hello, and welcome to the Black Comics Universe, presented by Peep Game Comics.
And you gotta love it that the first people in the minute to skim it are creators.
Up, everybody? Welcome to another Wednesday Warriors. My name is Joey Galvez, and this is my pal Ambrosia.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Space Cadet.
Hey!
What's up?
Welcome, everyone, for another episode of I Must Ask You a Question.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Nerd News Now.
Hey, this is Rex. Welcome to Comic Collectors.
Hey, hello, all you happy people. Welcome to the Dan Wickline Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. This is the crazy show that we do on Thursdays called What's in the Box? What's in the Box?
Comic culture and sales.
Just want to keep playing it. Let's just run that for the rest of the last 10 minutes. Yeah. All right. So some things I noticed that I thought were pretty interesting. The fact that there was no title. When I went out to Disney Plus, there was no title, but Disney has put on their official page that it was titled Gods and Monsters. The Ennead Council that showed up, reminder that those avatars were Hathor, Osiris, Horus, Toughnut, and Isis is how they pronounce it, but it's Isis. And I thought that was interesting that Osiris, when Stephen and Mark come back together, Stephen comes out, he's got that heart that's now one and holds it and brings basically, or Mark comes out and brings Stephen back. Osiris opens the door like, yes. And Tauret is kind of, oh, you big softy. It's like, no, we're getting our ass kicked down here. Send this guy back. We were wrong. And I thought that was really interesting. It's a little confusing when he does come back, it's pretty obvious when Stephen negotiates their release after helping, and Khonshu says, yeah, I will free you both. Right there I went, ding, 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 Jake's coming. But some of the places we've got, of course, we start off in the Field of Reeds and the Duat. A lot of this takes place in Cairo, but we have the Putnam Medical Facility, which is all in, well, it's kind of what the Duat is for Mark and Stephen, and also where they're a lot of people refer to it as the Mind Palace. It's where he's kind of working through his issues with Dr. Harrow. And even though we are reassured that that's not a real place, there is a real psychiatric hospital in it, and it's named after Bill Sienkiewicz, one of probably the most popular of the artists who have worked on Moon Knight. He wasn't the first, he wasn't the co-creator, but when it became he got brought on when they were doing the Hulk magazine. Marvel was trying to get Neil Adams to come over to rest in peace. Neil Adams passed last week. They were trying to get Neil Adams to come over, and someone had shown Neil Bill Sienkiewicz's work, and Neil didn't want to leave DC at the time. So he said, well, if you guys want someone who draws like me, check out this guy. And they liked his work, and he got hired to do Moon Knight. So yeah, they name dropped Sienkiewicz there. There's a lot of little Easter eggs like that. There's a Doug Munch. There's a Don Munch name on the poster for Tomb Busters, and Don Perlin was the original artist, and Doug Munch was the original writer. So they have little things like that in here, and I thought that was nice. But when he's released at the end, they've captured Amit, and Mark refuses to kill Harrow. And he says, okay, now release us as part of your deal. We immediately shift to inside Putnam facility with Harrow again. And Mark and Steven, it's kind of interesting to see Oscar Isaac had gotten to the point where he could shift characters in the middle of a sentence, which is awesome. But he realizes what that place is and leaves it, which I thought was great. But then when it ends, he wakes up in his bed alone. He's shackled again. He ends up walking out of the bed and tripping, falling on his face like he had before. Steven's in charge, but Mark is talking to him. And he's complaining about how dirty the place is. And I'm starting to wonder if that place exists. I mean, because first thing, where's Layla? If Layla had been there next to him, that would be one thing. But now I'm starting to wonder if Jake has taken over and kind of put the two of them into the apartment as kind of a holding place for the personalities, for the personas, and that Jake is now in charge. There's something like that when Doom Patrol deals with Crazy Jane and all of her personalities. There's like this whole city that they go to. So I'm kind of curious because Jake has successfully been able to keep his presence a secret from the other two, but I think he's the one doing a lot of the things. Like now there's 2 goldfish in the tank to symbolize that Mark and Steven are both there. They're, the dating thing with Dylan and all of these things that wouldn't make sense for Mark to do. And we know Steven didn't do them. So how does Jake keep himself still a secret? And I think he's probably more powerful than the other guys. He creates this little room for them to live in where they think they're living their lives, but they're actually in the background. Other thoughts on the episode? There's a part where they're fighting hand to hand with a bunch of people. And Mark is switching back and forth between Moon Knight and Mr. Knight as Mark and Steven switch back and forth. And Mr. Knight is starting to kick ass. Well, I think they set that up in the previous episode where Mark could suddenly fight off some of the Sand people because he finally realized he could tap into the things that Steven can do or that Mark can do. And he's got the confidence to do it. So when you're seeing them, it is just as I think they're both hiding from Jake, from themselves. They know what he is and don't worry about him. That he's okay. So you think that they can see him, but or they know he's there, but they pretend he's not because they know what he can do, what he's done. That's interesting. That could totally be it. So I was talking about the way they kind of seamlessly move between the two characters. Mr. Knight throws one of his Eskrima sticks. Harrow knocks it away. It bounces around, and Moon Knight catches it. It just really kind of and then bringing in the other character of Scarlet Scarab with her wing powers and stuff, it all kind of flowed really well. In a lot of ways, it reminds me of what a fight scene with like Captain America and Falcon would look like, which we never really got. You know, they tended to fight separately. Here we get the two of them fighting together against Harrow, and I think it works really well. Yeah, I'm just really pleased by the ending. I would like it to have been a little clearer what's going on, just because we don't know if the series is going to continue. They did change it from series finale to season finale, but you know, no one is saying if anything's happening. Oscar Isaac came out and said there have been no plans to make a second season. No one's, you know, some people are speculating. Hey, Kenneth, how you doing, sir? They're speculating that he might show up in Werewolf by Night, the Halloween special that's going to be coming out this October, which is totally possible. But again, we don't know. So it's because we don't know what's going to happen to this character. With WandaVision, we always kind of knew that she was going to show up in Multiverse of Madness. With Captain America, immediately talk of a Falcon and Winter Soldier. There was immediately talk of Captain America 4. With Loki, they came out and said, we're doing a Loki a second season. Hawkeye felt like they were closing the door. So I don't know which one they needed to do, because we don't know what the next thing is, but they definitely could have used to do whatever it is so that there was a little bit more of a closure to the series or to the season. Now, they may also be dancing around it because Emmy nominations for series versus a limited series are very different. So if you're doing a season that's going to continue, you go into a much larger pool of people than a limited series would. So it's possible Marvel wants to try to get an Emmy for Oscar Isaac by saying it's a limited series. That way the size of the competition pool gets smaller. I don't know. It's all semantics to me. I want to see more of Moon Knight. I don't care if it's another season, which I would love. If it's some kind of Midnight Suns movie, if it's Werewolf by Night and then Blade, stuff like that. I think they did a great job creating this character. Oscar Isaac nailed his performance, and I just want to see more. So, all right, guys, stick around. Right now is going to be What's in the Box with Miss Jen. That's where she pulls a box out of the warehouse, opens it up, and just sells what's in it. So I keep hoping it's going to be like, you know, cat food and somebody's lunch and mask figures from the 70s and 80s. Who knows? Could be anything. But, JD says, I think it may be they don't want to announce a second season until they lock down Oscar under contract for a second season. That is another possibility. So I think we will I think we will get more Moon Knight. We just have to be patient until they announce it. Then again, they just had their big creator meeting, the first one in person in 3 years. So either D23 or an investor meeting, the next big thing, I think we'll find out a lot. So, all right, we're going to wrap that up here, folks. I will be back on Tuesday, but the experience has a ton of great stuff. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons wherever you are. Stick around for Miss Jen. I'll see you later. Have a great weekend. Good night, everybody.